Now, let's get into one of the conversations that we love to have here on the Metro, where we get into the nitty-gritty of the systems that shape our lives. One of those is the criminal justice system. Now, when crime happens, many people are ready to stabilize the situation. The police are meant to catch and detain the person who allegedly did the crime. Medical staff and mental health professionals are sometimes made available to stabilize the person who's been hurt. And prosecutors are tasked with assembling evidence, charging the appropriate person, and making the case for a proper punishment. All of these processes rely on competent people and adequate funding. When the latter part of the equation falls short, funding, things in the justice system start to slow, and sometimes they break. In an effort to reduce the high caseload, Wayne County has recommended that City of Detroit attorneys prosecute misdemeanor offenses to reduce the caseload for Wayne County. Earlier this month, Detroit City Council voted 8-1 to do just that, beginning in July of next year. So what kinds of cases will the city oversee? What kind of burden might this place on Detroit? And how might it change the city's operations? To discuss all this, we have Conrad Mallett Jr. here. He's the corporation counsel for the city of Detroit. Conrad, welcome back to the Metro.
It's good to be here.
So first, if we could, let's address what's going on in Wayne County. Prosecutor Kim Worthy has said that the county does over 60% of all the criminal cases in the state, and that it's the lowest staffed office per prosecutor in the country. Conrad, that seems like a very bad ratio. Why is that the case?
So the Wayne County prosecutor, under the really inspired leadership of Kim Worthy, really has been struggling, Robyn, for many years to attract prosecutors, to attract lawyers to do this work. Frankly, as you all are well aware, public sector lawyers are not well paid.
Yep.
And so she's in a constant competition to get good people to come to the prosecutor's office for pay that is below what they pay in Oakland County, for pay that's below what they pay in Macomb County. And so even the local competition is difficult for her sometimes to overcome. About a year ago, maybe two, the Wayne County executive, Warren Evans, got with the Wayne County Commission, gave the prosecutor dollars available to raise her pay. And so I think that she's had much more success in attracting and, just as importantly, retaining her prosecutorial membership team. Now, the interesting thing is that the number of cases she confronts continues to go up. And she approached the city of Detroit and said, look, we need to formalize our relationship. And Robyn, I think it's important to know that we have been doing some of this work in cooperation with the Wayne County prosecutor for a number of years under a memorandum of understanding, where members of our staff were delegated responsibility to prosecute a number of misdemeanors. All felonies will continue to be prosecuted by the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. We are talking about misdemeanors. But they are important. You're talking about assault and battery. You're talking about retail fraud. You're talking about traffic violations. And so these are what has been described by Scott Benson as being the quality of life laws that when they get broken, they still have to be managed. They simply can't be ignored. Detroit is the only city in Wayne County that is not prosecuting these misdemeanors on their own. And what the Wayne County prosecutor wanted to do and is going to be able to do is focus more of her attention on felonies, make sure she has a prosecutor in every Detroit precinct so that we can continue to manage gun crimes and as they come up on an almost real-time basis. And so this really is work that we're already doing. We are going to get more of it, but it's not that we're inexperienced. It's not that we don't have the infrastructure already in place. Thanks to the Detroit City Council, who adopted the list of misdemeanors that were formerly being prosecuted, we now are able to do that ourselves.
Conrad, I want to take a step back if we could, because you were starting to paint a picture that I think is important for folks to understand, and that is the work that prosecutors are doing and how it seems to be a recipe for burnout. I mean, they've got huge caseloads, and they do this work, and then, as you have noted, they leave. I mean, it sounds like it's hard to close that revolving door because the work itself is really overwhelming. And you're talking about a lot of folks who are mission driven, who are people, they're law folks. They want to protect the public. That's why they do this work. And I wonder if you can just talk about the challenges of keeping good folks on the job.
So, Robyn, that's a really, really important observation. I mean, really, really, really good lawyers. Lawyers are attracted all of the time, frankly, to leave public service and go into the private sector because of the pay differential, number one. Number two, I think particularly in the prosecutorial community, you do get a certain amount of burnout associated with the horror that you have to deal with sometimes, particularly with the kinds of crimes that have to be prosecuted, and the moral depravity sometimes that is confronted by people. I mean, we read all the time, you guys report it every day, the difficult outcomes of some of the ways human beings treat each other. Prosecutorial community sees that every day, day in and day out. And sometimes it's overwhelming.
Forgive me for jumping in, Conrad, but it has me wondering, how do you guard yourself from becoming really jaded about humanity, about the human capability to do bad versus good?
Yeah, I mean, I think about that. I mean, I've been a judge. I've been a lot of things, and so I keep reflecting back on a statement I think that Martin Luther King made, the something like the moral arc of the universe bends long, but it bends toward justice. And so you got to remain hopeful. You got to remain optimistic. You have to take the wins where you can find them, and you have to really, really, really depend on the people around you to lift you up and help you keep going.
My guest is Conrad Mallett, Jr. He's the Corporation Counsel for the City of Detroit. We're discussing the plan for the city's law department to take on some criminal cases from the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and we're also talking about the philosophy of law and life and humanity. Conversations like this one that take us into the systems that shape our lives, like the criminal justice system, can only happen with your support. So go to WDET.org/give, make a gift, help us reach our $2,000 goal. Now, Conrad, let's get back to a little bit more of the nitty gritty of why we brought you in to talk about how things are changing between the city and the county and how they're not. Because as you have noted, this work has been happening already where the city has been taking on cases for Wayne County, and this is going to really formalize that. So beginning next summer, the city of Detroit will prosecute misdemeanor offenses. And you mentioned this earlier in our conversation, but I wonder if you can remind us what kinds of cases are included in that and what will that caseload look like? How much heavier burden and weight is that going to put on the city?
So It's going to be assault and battery. It's going to be retail fraud. It's going to be curfew violations. It's going to be traffic driving cases or traffic tickets cases. I don't have in front of me, Robyn, as I pointed out earlier, the ordinance that actually lists it all out. But these are going to be the everyday law violations that, if not prosecuted, could grow into and become more complicated. These are the behaviors that need to be managed because they affect everyone's quality of life. And so, the small store owner who's plagued by people coming and picking up a bag of potato chips, we're not going to send that person off to jail. One of the things that 36th District Court does is really focus on restorative justice. So it's a very important part of who they are and what they do.
Especially since the agreement with the ACLU.
But also, I think, because of the leadership of Bill McConaughey. I think that these people are, and the court in general, and I think the leader of this effort is Judge Holmes over in 36D. She's very, very, very committed to this particular concept. And so we do want to make sure that there are consequences for violations of the law. We don't want, as we saw it occur at one point in San Francisco, organized groups of people when the city announced they were not going to prosecute retail fraud and then come into the downtown stores and actually just wreak havoc. We do want to make sure that people understand we're going to prosecute these crimes. We are not going to let things become out of control. We are going to maintain law and order. But at the same time, when you get in front of a 36th District Court judge, the judicial function is going to take into account who you are and what you've done.
And Conrad, you kind of touched on what my question was. City Council just changed the rules for curfew violations and kids being out over, past curfew. How does this new decision, what was the conversation with Kim Worthy? Was this kind of already on the way in? Because, that could be an influx of more curfew violation cases. And now that you're taking away the jail time element and increasing the fines, I was just wondering how much you guys are taking on off her plate, because are you expecting to see more curfew violations following the new rule, or are you expecting the same amount just handled differently? Yeah,
I think, Russ, that you've hit upon it. It's going to be the same amount handled differently, number one. Number two, we are already seeing a reduction in the number of curfew violation instances because the parents understood it. Little Johnny, little Sarah got to be home by the streetlights. And let's just get on with it and make sure that we're getting our kids home at an appropriate time. And so we've already seen, that there was a brief uptick in summertime criminal behavior that once we took the steps that the chief and the mayor suggested, along with the prosecutor, things calmed down very, very quickly. Parents across the city reacted responsibly, and we've got the thing back under control.
And you referenced the work that Judge McConaughey has done to kind of create not necessarily a cashless bail system, but one that makes more sense in, so people aren't sitting in jail awaiting trial.
Yeah.
All that. There's been a national effort, especially coming now from the Trump administration, to get rid of things like cashless bail or similar projects like that. Have you seen a negative impact in the city of Detroit, in Wayne County, since Judge McConaughey put those rules in place a couple of years ago?
So I'll say this, that, Detroit is really unique in that we have always been at the forefront of civil rights, but also have understood the necessity to maintain law and order. And so the 36th District Court judges have not been doctrinaire in terms of just cashless bail. When they're looking at people, Russ, who have done something wrong, they are going to give them a bail or they're going to put them on a tether. This is not a situation where 36D is just simply allowing people to do what they want with no consequence. If Judge McConaughey were here, he would be really emphasizing the fact that every case is treated individually. There is the ACLU agreement to look at the fact that you don't want to impose a cash bail on somebody simply for a violation of little or no consequence. But if you get somebody in front of you who actually is a repeat offender, who actually has been out doing something wrong when they have a tether and an order that says they need to be home at midnight and they get arrested at 3 o'clock in the morning, there are consequences associated with that. The judges are very aware of the circumstance, and one of the things that we've done through the city of Detroit is to help assure the prosecutor that every bail hearing is covered by a lawyer so that the magistrate has in front of him or her the defense attorney who says John Jones, Sally Smith, they're wonderful people and didn't do anything wrong. And the prosecutors there say, you know what, Judge, let me just point out that John Jones and Sally Smith, this is their record, and this is why we're recommending the bail that we are recommending. So the magistrate has enough information to make a good decision. The 36th District Court has not been criticized for being out of balance or behaving in a way that's ideologically driven as opposed to situational or required. So I'm very proud of the way we've managed to protect civil rights with also sending the message and protecting the public that we're going to maintain law and order in the city of Detroit.
Our guest is Conrad Mallett Jr. He is the Corporation Counsel for the City of Detroit. We've been discussing the plan for the city's law department to take on some criminal cases from the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, and conversations like this one that take us into the different systems that shape our lives, like the criminal justice system, can only happen with your support. Go to WDET.org, make a gift, help us reach our $2,000 goal. We've seen some incredible momentum this morning, and we have $1,500 to go this hour. So please don't wait another moment. Do it now. Conrad, I'm wondering, let's get back to this change, if we could here, and the fact that, the city's law department is going to take on some criminal cases again from the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. Do you think this change could improve the criminal justice system in Wayne County and Detroit?
So, Robyn, that's a really excellent question. What we said to City Council was that it is going to bring the evaluation of how justice is meted out in the city much, much closer to the legislature, because the law department reports to the City Council. And so all of the things that we do, the cases that we manage, the number of contacts with citizens that we have, all of that is going to be subject to City Council examination. So it's going to be fundamentally much, much, much more transparent.
I'm glad you brought up City Council, because there was one City Council member who voted against this measure, and that was Mary Sheffield. She told Bridge Detroit that there was, quote, no pressing need to take on prosecutorial duties, and that the shift will have a negative fiscal impact on Detroit. And as we know, she is running to be Detroit's next mayor. What do you make of that perspective?
So what I'll say is that the council president is 100% correct. This is going to cost the general fund $700,000. There's no way that this can be done without having 4 additional lawyers brought on to the city law team. The Wayne County prosecutor appeared before City Council and made the case that she was really without the personnel necessary to continue to do this work. The council president will make her own judgment as to whether or not it's a pressing need or not. 8 people on the council agreed with the Wayne County prosecutor that this had to be done, and the Corporation Counsel's Office is going to make sure it gets done appropriately.
In the last minute that we have here, I want to make a quick pivot. The last time we had you on the show, Conrad, we discussed the city's lawsuit against a blockchain real estate company after many of its properties allegedly violated local safety and health codes. Are there any updates on that case from the city while we've got you?
So real quick, as you know, Robyn, we were in the process per the judge's order of setting up this escrow program. There's 600 properties involved to date. We've got 194 of the tenants of Real Token enrolled in the escrow program. We've got a long way to go. This is very intense, knock on the door, personal conversation kind of work. It's taking longer than we hoped, number one. Number two, we're getting no cooperation from Real Token. The expectation, the hope was that they would join with us in getting this work done to make sure that the people were living in proper circumstances. They are fighting us tooth and nail every step in the way. And the last thing I'll leave you with is that these people are really, 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 I think, managing in a wildly inappropriate manner. They owe the city of Detroit $2 million in unpaid water bills. Wow. Now think about that for a minute. You got people living in these houses. Water bills have not been paid. Thank God we've been able to go to the city of Detroit's water department, give them the list of persons who live in these Real Token homes. They're reaching out to the people who live in these homes, and they're working with the tenants to be sure that they can then get the water bill put in the tenant's name. But Robyn, that's not what the tenant signed up for.
Right.
Tenant signed up for, you're gonna pay for this. This was an all-inclusive. So it's really, really, really fundamentally a very difficult circumstance. I'm proud of the law department for doing what we're doing. This is the kind of public service that we have to do. We're not just a corporate solution for the various city departments. So with the prosecutorial work that we're taking on, with this kind of tenant protection work that we are doing, I think the law department is really in a much, much different place than it has ever been before.
Conrad Mallett Jr. is the corporation counsel for the city of Detroit. Conrad, thanks for giving us a window into your work, and thanks for joining us here on the Metro.
Thanks for having me.